that has been passed?
Well, firstly, let me say that the passage of the tax reform bills, it's one of the evidence of the type of opposition which we assured you we are going to have in place in Parliament. I know that for Nigerians, if they don't see parliamentarians blowing, hitting at each other, insulting and attacking themselves, they feel that there is no opposition in Parliament. But we have been here long enough, and out of experience, we have concluded that that has not paid off for us as a nation and as a country. We have fought for several years in Parliament, but we saw insecurity increasing. We saw economic woes increasing. So we decided that we are going to make our impact, having the interests of Nigerians at the back of our mind, not seeking for popularity, not seeking for accolades from the public, but ensuring that we do our work very studiously and then get results. The tax bill is one of such results. When the tax bill came, we saw that the bill was not good enough for Nigerians, and we started the push for a reform of that bill. We believed that Nigeria needed a change in her tax system. And so our tax laws were due for reform. So the spirit of the tax bill was good, but the letter had issues that we needed to rejig. And when all that came up, we went into the room with the leadership of the National Assembly and pointed out the areas that Nigerians are complaining of, which we believe that their complaints were genuine and correct complaints. These things were looked at in-house, and that's why it was delayed. We insisted, and it was stepped down. Took our time to do in-house cleaning of the bill, all the contentious areas, proper consultation from the Governors Forum to state parliaments and several organizations, including religious groups. All the opinions were taken into consideration in-house. And when we had tidied that up completely, we came back to the floor of the Parliament to now look at it and ensure that what we had agreed is exactly what is brought to the floor of Parliament. And we passed it with ease. We didn't need to fight to record that success. And so today we have a tax bill. But however, I will still say that what we have cannot be said to be perfect, because there is no law that is perfect. And that's why you have provision for amendment. But what we have today as a tax bill is far better than what was presented to us, if you look at interest of the populace. I think that I can say that the tax bill, as it is now, is welcome, but it is still work in progress.
Moses.
Okay, Right Honorable Sir, aside from being the leader of the minority caucus in the House of Representatives, you are also the leader of the PDP caucus, as it were, in the House of Representatives, and by extension, even among the leaders of the party nationally. Last week, Friday, the Supreme Court ruled on the matter between Udope and Senator Samuel Anyang, who is the substantive secretary of the party. Today, despite the ruling of the Supreme Court, people are still laying claims. Some people are saying it's Udope, some people are saying Sam Anyang. What is your opinion on it?
Well, firstly, let me say that what we have done in the minority caucus is to allow party leadership to reside in various members of political parties. In PDP, Honorable Mutiu Nicholas is the leader of PDP in the House of Reps. But I am the minority leader, so of course we work in tandem. On the issue of Supreme Court judgment, it is clear. I will advise that people should endeavor to read before they come to public space to attempt to deceive the public. It doesn't pay us. It's embarrassing as a political party that a judgment of court will be given. And then you hear people misinterpreting the judgment and giving various interpretations, even within very high level of the party. Look, let me tell you that judgment must not be in my favor. But once there is a judgment, there is a judgment. And if it is Supreme Court, I don't have any option than to align with it and look for a way to ensure that we make progress. The judgment is clear. The appeal was upheld. Judgment of the lower court was set aside. Judgment of the Court of Appeal was set aside. And the court ruled that, look, the person who brought the suit, actually not our brother Obi Okoye, the person who brought the suit, that the person was a busybody. And Obi Okoye himself, an interloper. And that Sam Anyanwu was never removed from office. And so he remains the national secretary of the party. It's simple, that issues of leadership are internal matters of the party, and so that the court of first instance ought not to have even exercised jurisdiction over the matter. So all the misinterpretations, I don't know what they intend to achieve. That is causing more problem within our party. We have a legal advisor. I think that if anybody is in doubt, please approach the national legal advisor of the party, who is in a position to tell you clearly what the position of the Supreme Court is. Not for the National Organizing Secretary to cause the kind of confusion that he's causing. We are not happy about that. But because we are party men, we don't want to join issues. We don't want to continue to wash our dirty linens outside. We will caution ourselves to please bridle our tongue. Let us be slow in going to the public to discuss party issues. From the Supreme Court judgment, Sam Anyanwu is the National Secretary of the party.
Distinguished, in the recent times, the National Assembly, both chambers, has come under severe criticism by the Nigerians concerning the alacrity with which they passed the emergency rule by the president. And there is allegation too that money exchanged hands. As the opposition minority leader, what is your take and what actually transpired?
First, let me say that the decision was not based on any inducement whatsoever. And again, I have heard the criticism. If you were in chambers that day, what happened was that we had an executive session. And at the executive session, we canvassed positions, discussed issues, and we were given further and better information as to reasons why Mr. President declared the state of emergency. Some of these are security information. They are not things that you throw open to the entire public. And having been convinced, members now said, we need to rejig some of the conditions a little bit. The interest of this country should be paramount. And that we agreed. If you look at it, what we said was that first, Mr. President can call it off when the situation in Rivers State becomes calm, whether within the 6 months or even before the 6 months. Secondly, the areas that has to do with the powers of Parliament that appeared to some members to have been touched, that it should be restored. And then the third amendment. So when we agreed on all this, we came to the open as usual, like I have told you before, and then the vote was taken. The Constitution provides for 2/3, yes, but also remember that there is assumption of correctness in every action of Parliament, unless it is disputed by any member. So every action, every process, every procedure in Parliament, constitutionally, is assumed to be correct, save when a member disputes it. Having done that, when we took the vote, if one nay had come up, that member can ask for division of the House. and then you can do head count, or you divide the house how you so wish to, and then do the count. The important thing that the Speaker did was to confirm if quorum had been formed, which was the only objection that came from members. Obiagocha, Fred Abedi, all talked about quorum. And quorum for sitting of Parliament is 1/3. The quorum was formed. To err on the side of caution, the Speaker went ahead to ask that the required 2/3 must be in chambers before vote is taken. And so at the point when from the register, he was informed that we were 243. He now felt that since 240 was quorum, that he could go ahead. Let me also put it clear that we were more than 243 in that chambers on that day. Aside that, our rules also provide that members can participate virtually. So those who are participating virtually were also not there and were also not counted. But the long and short of it is, I will ask one question. For all the previous parliaments that had passed issues on state of emergency, show me one where head count was done. One. Aside that, even members, former members who are being critical, let them tell us. One member who came up on the floor to say, look, I'm not satisfied with this vote. The House should be divided. And that was not done. You know, people should understand there are procedures, there are processes. Yes, nobody is doubting that 2/3 is a requirement. But what procedure? The Constitution did not say that you do head count to achieve 2/3. And we have our House rules. And we also have constitutional provision. We were prepared for head count, but you will do it if it is necessary. If you have achieved over 240, and everybody said yes, nobody said nay, the Speaker had to put the question 3 times to be sure. Of course, the reason why he was repeating the question was to be sure if there is any nay, so that we can do a head count. But there was no nay.
So the peculiar nature of this particular declaration was because 2 arms of government were suspended, unlike other ones. So Nigerians are of the view that if actually the lawmakers were in support of the emergency declaration, they ought to have allowed, they ought to have followed their procedure rather than suspending the laid down rule in their own.
What is the procedure?
To do head counts.
Where is it in the House rules?
So that's what they said.
That is what they said, and that's what I keep telling you, that the problem we have is assumptions and rumors. I have told you here that the Constitution says that every process is legitimate unless it is contested. I've also told you that the House rules provides for process and procedure. Once there is a contest, if one member, had gotten up to say, Mr. Speaker, I want us to divide the House, you do head count. One. You do head count. If the number of members had been below the required 240, then you can also say that the 240 was not present. These are the conditions. And let me also say again, for every declaration of state of emergency, there must be a reason for it. If you look at the Constitution provides that if there is natural disaster, you can declare a state of emergency. Your target is to take care of that natural disaster and ensure that Nigerians do not die in cause of that natural disaster, right? And so you don't need to tamper with democratic structures. If there is attack, for example, by Cameroon against Nigeria, you can declare a state of emergency. And the essence is for military to move in and curb that attack and secure the territory of the country. In this situation, where you have problem and crisis emanating from 2 arms of government, and your target is to take care of that problem and that crisis, what do? You leave them to continue to fight and declare a state of emergency? At least people should. I'm from Rivers State, and I am affected. I'm happy that we did not lose one life. Even my state assembly members were angry that they were thrown under the carpet. We had to plead with them. I asked some of them, if we had continued this, and maybe your security man, or your PA, or even yourself becomes the casualty, would I even be happy? I will prepare to sacrifice my seat as a member here and ensure that no life in Rivers State is lost. So when people talk, people should talk with facts that they have on ground. What is the reason for declaration of the state of emergency? What do you want to curb? What do you want to salvage by the declaration of state of emergency? It's not declared as a matter of course. It's not for fancy. It's for a reason.
Right, Honorable Sir. You are a lawyer. And today, Nigerians are not very comfortable with the judiciary. As a lawyer, sir, what is happening today? Is this the kind of judiciary that was handed over to you?
Tell me which sector in this country that Nigerians are comfortable. Are they comfortable with the press? Tell me one sector.
Yes, sir. Sir, the judiciary is that the last hope of the common man.
What about the press? You know, some of us, yes, look, let us place Nigeria first. I'm telling you the truth. Let us place Nigeria first. If you look at some of the pressmen too, rather than do investigative journalism, they go to social media and pick stories and hit up the polity. We must make progress. There's no arm, whether the legislature, the judiciary, or the executive, even the Nigerian masses, that it cannot share from the blame of our country. All of us must sit up. We must be a little bit more selfless.
Yes, Honorable. Honorable, sir. If you look at the issue of state of emergency being declared in Rivers State, it's more or less like it's like the president is being biased, because Rivers issue is not as tough as that of the Lagos State a few weeks ago. Why is it that Mr. President and the National Assembly is targeting Rivers State in particular? Why is Lagos not part of the state of emergency, sir?
Fine. Social media information, which I have just criticized. How long did Lagos State crisis last? One. Lagos State crisis, was it between the executive and the legislature, or an internal matter in the legislature, for you to compare that to Rivers State? What were the threats in Lagos State to public assets as a result of the crisis within the House of Assembly of Lagos State? The comparison is not there at all. That's why I keep saying that, look, let us have the interests of this country at heart. In whatever decision we take, let us have the interest of the country at heart. Let us not start looking at, how do I condemn? Look at it critically. Can you truly compare what was happening in Rivers State and what happened in Lagos State in the House of Assembly? Here you have two arms of government. Let me also ask you, if the president had not intervened, I'm sure the progress concerning the impeachment of the governor would have continued up till now. The tension would have still been there. What would have been the end result? Can you tell? When you already have oil assets being attacked, what would have been the end result? Look, we need to be very careful. This is the first time I'm speaking on this issue. Deliberately, I have decided not to, because I'm involved. And I don't hide my interest. I'm a Rivers man. God has made it so. I can't shy away from it.
Honorable,
James.
the PDP is supposed to be the main opposition party. There's a perception that PDP itself has lost esteem with the previous question my colleague asked of the perceived infighting. How would, with all the infighting, how would the PDP as main opposition party be poised to do its work of opposing the government and putting it on the feet to do the needful, and as well prepared against 2027?
I have said one thing. I said, let us be a little bit more selfless and a little bit less selfish. Once we do that, I'm sure that some of the problems you see in our party today, you will see no more. Well, let me assure everybody, wait until the congresses, the national convention of all the parties come and go. Then you can pass a proper judgment. But PDP has always been like that. We have had in-house fighting. We'll come out stronger. This one will not be different.
Thank you, sir. Ralph.
Yeah, thank you, Right Honorable. You know, Nigerians are expressing a fear that in all what is happening in the country, that the APC-led government, actions of the APC-led government, they have fear that Nigeria is driving towards a one-party system. What is your response?
When PDP was in power, we were also accused of that. The important thing is for us, the PDP, to put our house in order. Let me also tell you, the APC will be happy that we are in tatters. Just like we also will be happy to see the APC in crisis. And we are praying for that. So, I mean, what we need to do is for us to go back to the drawing board, put the country first, and put self after country, and we can make it. I still believe that we can make it. It is the individuals that make the party, not the party that makes the individual. Okay, thank you. God bless you.
Thank you, sir.